The greatest threat to your power is not your enemy, it's your own emotions, your need to be loved, your fear of being alone, your desperation to feel important to someone. These are not virtues, they are chains. And Machiavelli knew it. He didn't write for the kind-hearted, he wrote for rulers, survivors, and predators. And he warned, those who feel too much are the first to fall. The world will not reward your loyalty, your vulnerability, or your love. It will weaponize them. People smile as they lie to you. They hug you while sharpening the knife. And the moment they know you care, they own you. But there is a way out. Detach emotionally, psychologically, entirely. Not because you hate others, but because you love your power more. Because survival demands clarity, not compassion. In this video, I'll take you deep into Machiavelli's coldest truth, how to shut off the emotions that make you weak and rule with a mind no one can read and a heart no one can reach. Everyone wants to be loved, understood, and cared for. That's exactly why most people are powerless. Machiavelli understood one brutal truth. Emotions make you vulnerable. The more you feel, the more you expose. The more you care, the more others control you. He wrote, "The wise man does at once what the fool does finally." And the fool, he observed, is the man who gives his heart before securing his position. In Machiavellian thought, emotions are not to be trusted. They are weapons, not guides. You can use them, but you must never be ruled by them. Emotional detachment isn't about being dead inside. It's about staying alive in a world designed to destroy the naive. To detach means to control. When you are detached, you cannot be manipulated, baited, or emotionally blackmailed. Your silence becomes a wall, your stillness a weapon. The moment you care too much, you become predictable. Predictable people are easy to target. Their weaknesses are always on display in their voice, their face, their fear of loss. Machiavelli observed this in the courts of Florence. Princes who ruled with emotion were outmaneuvered by colder, more strategic enemies. A ruler who loved too deeply would forgive enemies who returned only to betray again. A general who feared losing his men would hesitate, and that hesitation would cost him the war. Emotional attachment, whether to people, power, or pride, was always a liability. That's why Machiavelli praised Caesar. He showed no mercy to former allies who became threats. He didn't mourn betrayal, he eliminated it. That's not cruelty, that's control. Emotional detachment gives you the power to do what must be done without the hesitation that destroys leaders. Most people are raised to believe that kindness is strength. That vulnerability is beauty. That's a lie told to keep you obedient. In truth, every empire is built by those who kept their emotions under control and used the emotions of others as tools. Think of every betrayal you've ever faced, every lie, every manipulation, every heartbreak. What made them possible? You cared too much. You expected loyalty. You were attached. And when people realized it, they pulled the strings. Emotional detachment is not about not feeling. It's about not reacting. It's about watching your own feelings like a weapon, not a weakness. A Machiavellian mind can experience anger, desire, or pain, but it never lets those emotions dictate action, because the moment someone can predict how you'll act when you're emotional, you've lost control. That's why Machiavelli's teachings are not for the average man. They are for those who want to rule themselves first and then rule everything else. If you want peace, stay emotional. If you want power, stay detached. When people try to get close, ask yourself, are they loyal or are they useful? Would they still respect you if you never gave them affection, approval, or attention? If not, they are not an ally. They are a threat. Detachment also reveals truth. Once you remove emotion, you begin to see people as they are, not as you wish they were. You start noticing patterns. The friend who only calls when they need something. The lover who pulls away the moment you stop giving. The family member who uses guilt to control. All of them depend on your emotions to function. Detach and watch them reveal their true selves. In detachment, your time becomes yours again. Your energy returns. Your focus sharpens. You begin to act, not react. That's what Machiavelli meant when he said, "A prince must learn to be like both the lion and the fox." The lion does not weep. The fox does not get angry. Both win because they know when to strike. And they never let emotion announce their move. So if you want to be free from betrayal, manipulation, and weakness, begin with this. Kill your need for emotional approval. Care strategically, not sentimentally. Most people are addicted to illusions, especially the illusion of love and loyalty. They cling to the idea that some people are different, that some bonds are sacred. But Machiavelli warned, there is no such thing as permanent loyalty, only shifting interests. People are loyal when it benefits them. They love you when they need you. But the moment their interests change, so does their loyalty. That's not evil. That's nature. And those who don't accept this truth are destroyed by it. The man who believes in unconditional loyalty gives power to those who will use it against him. The ruler who loves his people more than he fears betrayal is already digging his own grave. Machiavelli understood that power demands distance. He advised princes to appear merciful, but remain ruthless within, to project care but never become emotionally tied, because emotional ties cloud judgment. They make you hesitate when you should act. They make you forgive when you should cut ties, and worst of all, they make you dependent on people you cannot control. Love in its pure form is chaos, unpredictable, blinding, destructive. And in politics, in power, in survival, chaos is death. Emotional detachment is not cruelty. It's clarity. It allows you to see people not as you wish they were, but as they are. You begin to observe, not idealize. You begin to calculate, not hope. When someone betrays you, you're not surprised. You're prepared. You expected it. You knew their loyalty was conditional. And that's the power of detachment. It lets you act without the interference of illusion. It protects you from manipulation disguised as affection. The people who preach loyalty the loudest are often the first to leave when tested. The ones who call you family are sometimes the first to twist the knife when you fall. Emotional detachment does not mean isolation. It means choosing who gets your energy and how much. It means no one owns your emotions. No one dictates your peace. You can interact, collaborate, and even love, but from a position of control, not desperation. A Machiavellian mind understands this. Relationships are strategic. Every connection either strengthens your position or weakens it. There is no neutral. So ask yourself, is this person sharpening you or softening you? Are they loyal or just attached to the benefits you bring? Detachment allows you to test this without fear, because when you're detached, you no longer fear loss. And when you no longer fear loss, you become untouchable. This is not a mindset for the sentimental. It's for the powerful, the cold, the focused. Emotional detachment gives you the upper hand in every negotiation, every betrayal, every storm. Because you walk in prepared to lose, and that is exactly why you win. Emotional detachment is not a switch. It is a weapon you must sharpen through repetition. You weren't raised to be detached. You were raised to please, to bond, to feel guilty when you don't care enough. So to become detached, you must unlearn weakness and rebuild your mind from the ground up. The first step is expectation. Expect betrayal. Expect disappointment. Expect selfishness, not as pessimism, but as preparation. When you no longer expect people to be loyal, their disloyalty no longer shakes you. When you assume nothing, you suffer nothing. Machiavelli believed that men are driven by their own interests, not by morals or sentiment. Understand this, and you stop asking, why did they do this to me? The answer is always the same. It benefited them. The second step is internal control. Master your reactions. When you feel anger, pause. When you feel love, test it. When you feel pain, observe it. The goal is not to suppress emotion, but to control it before it controls you. Because once people see your emotional buttons, they will press them every time they want power. Learn to pause before reacting. In that pause is where detachment lives and power grows. The third step is controlled exposure. Don't isolate, dominate, engage with people, but always on your terms. Give affection, but hold back your dependency. Say less than you feel. Never let anyone know how much they matter to you. The more silent you are, the more they fear your thoughts. And if they can't read you, they can't use you. This isn't about being cruel. It's about being unbreakable. Because when you become emotionally self-sufficient, no one can hold you hostage with guilt, rejection, or love. You don't need their approval. You don't need their attention. You remain calm when they pull away and cold when they return, because your peace is not in their hands. Machiavelli would call this the armor of the mind. A prince must be able to stand alone, to make decisions without emotional interference, to walk away from allies and lovers without hesitation. This isn't heartlessness, it's self-discipline, because those who hesitate in power games lose everything. And the emotionally detached man never hesitates. He sees the trap before stepping in. He sees the game behind the smile. He can walk away from anyone at any time without explanation. That is what makes him untouchable. You train detachment like a muscle through silence, space, and selection. Don't respond to every message. Don't explain your silence. Don't give them the satisfaction of your reaction. The more they wonder what you feel, the more you control the dynamic. People respect what they don't understand. Be unpredictable. Be emotionally silent. And you will watch how quickly the world loses its power over you. There comes a point where silence becomes more powerful than speech, where your ability to detach from chaos becomes your greatest form of control. Emotional detachment is not just a method, it's a transformation. Once you've mastered it, you're no longer reacting to people. You're guiding them. You don't chase closure. You don't explain your distance. You don't correct their perception of you. Why? Because none of it matters. The moment you become detached, their games stop working. Their manipulation hits a wall. Their approval loses all power. This is what Machiavelli understood better than anyone. Most people are ruled by internal desperation. They fear being alone, misunderstood, or unloved. So they over-explain, overfeel, overcommit, and as a result, they get controlled. But the person who is emotionally detached walks into every room, calm, quiet, and clear. They don't care to be liked. They don't react to gossip. They don't flinch when others leave. They operate from power, not from lack. And that in any human interaction is terrifying to those who want to control you. You see, when you truly detach, you realize something cold but liberating. People only matter as much as you allow them to. Their importance is not objective, it's assigned, and you can withdraw that assignment at any time. You no longer need anyone you choose them, and that changes the dynamic instantly. Now you're not afraid to walk away. You're not waiting for validation. You're not chasing peace from the outside. You are the source of your own balance, and that makes you unshakable. You become the one person in every room who cannot be baited, guilted, or pressured. The world notices this. People may not understand it, but they feel it. Your emotional detachment is like a mirror. It reflects back the chaos inside others, and they either respect you or fear you for it. They test you. They try to pull you in. They poke, provoke, and push. But when you remain still, when you don't react, they fall into their own trap. Because power doesn't explode. It withholds. It waits. It controls through absence. This kind of detachment is rare because it's earned. It's built in silence over time. In moments where you refuse to beg, refuse to explain, refuse to give someone emotional control over you. Even when it hurt, you chose to sit with discomfort instead of running back to familiarity, and each time you did, your mind became colder, sharper, more sovereign. Eventually, you become what Machiavelli would call a ruler of the self. Your emotions serve you, not others. Your anger becomes fuel. Your sadness becomes insight. Your love becomes selective. You give nothing to people who haven't proven their value, and you take everything from the silence they can't stand. This is not emptiness. This is power. It is the ability to feel everything, but show nothing, to care deeply but never let it cloud your judgment. Imagine how unstoppable you become when no one can guilt you, seduce you, or shame you into submission, when you can cut off a toxic person mid-sentence and feel nothing, when betrayal no longer surprises you, it just confirms your expectations, when love doesn't blind you, it sharpens your instincts. That's when you become untouchable. Not because you've built walls, but because you've mastered the gate and now they can't reach you. The liars, the manipulators, the users, they knock, but no one answers. You don't give them the performance they want. You don't offer a dramatic goodbye or a desperate return. You vanish. You observe. You ascend. So remember this. Emotional detachment is not weakness. It is the final evolution of power, the quiet strength that separates kings from pawns, the strategic coldness that shields you from emotional predators, and the one mindset that ensures no one can ever own you again. Detachment isn't just defense, it's offense. Once you master it, you don't just protect yourself, you start controlling others. Most people are ruled by their emotions. They react when ignored, panic when rejected, and chase what walks away. A Machiavellian mind uses this to dominate silently by staying emotionally unavailable. You create uncertainty, and uncertainty breeds obsession. When people can't predict your feelings, they try harder to earn them. That's power. Show less emotion than others expect. Respond slower than they want. Speak colder than they're used to. This creates imbalance. And in that imbalance, you gain control. Emotional distance becomes your leverage. They open up, hoping you'll match their vulnerability. But you don't. You watch. You listen. You calculate. They cry. You observe. They beg. You remain still. Because the moment they realize you don't need them emotionally, they chase that silence. That's how power flips. It's not about being loud, aggressive, or emotional. It's about being unmoved. Your coldness becomes a mirror. It reflects their neediness back to them. And in their desperation to pull you closer, they expose themselves fully. Machiavelli warned rulers to never allow themselves to be truly known. Appear compassionate, yes, but hide your real mind. Emotional mystery is dominance. People trust those who seem open, but they obey those who remain unreadable. When you're emotionally silent, others fill in the blanks with their own hopes, fears, and projections. They begin to serve you, chase you, fear your absence because they don't know what losing you really means, only that it feels unbearable. This silence, this detachment is also a test. Watch how people behave when you remove your attention, who still respects you when you're no longer emotionally available, who turns hostile when they can't control your heart. Their reactions reveal their true role in your life and whether they're allies or parasites. Detachment exposes the loyal from the opportunistic. It separates those who respect your mind from those who only wanted your emotions. But to weaponize detachment fully, you must stop seeking resolution. Most people are addicted to closure. They want to explain to be understood. To justify themselves, that's weakness. Never beg to be understood. Never try to fix what should be abandoned. If someone disrespects your standards, detach and disappear. No warning, no apology. Your silence is the punishment. Your absence is the answer. When you can walk away with zero emotional residue, you're finally in control, not of them, but of yourself. That's the root of Machiavellian power. You don't need revenge. You don't need confrontation. Your indifference is the lesson. People will always try to pull you back into emotional battles, but when they realize you've shut the door completely, no reaction, no resentment, no return, they lose interest. They move on, and you remain untouched. That's not just strength. That's psychological warfare. You don't scream. You vanish. And your silence echoes longer than any words could. If this resonated with the part of you that's tired of being used, manipulated, or controlled, then you're already on the right path. Like this video to signal your transformation. Subscribe if you're ready to master the mindset of those who rule in silence. Because from this point forward, your emotions are yours alone, and no one gets to weaponize them again.